watch this DVD and listen to the eyewitness testimony about explosions going off before the first plane even hit.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the craziest conspiracies out there, specifically those focused on dark secrets allegedly being kept by the US government.
People are coming here to post about family members that they feel have been sucked into the QAnon conspiracy.
Number 10. Mount Rushmore's Chamber of Secrets.
Today, evidence of the enormous effort it took to do the job can still be seen here. When all was said and done, 800 million pounds of rock had been removed. From the fine chisel marks on the president's faces.
Conspiracy lovers are focused on a tantalizing fact about Mount Rushmore. There's an 18-foot-tall door behind Lincoln's head that leads to a large secret chamber. It was meant to be called the Hall of Records. The sculptor, Gutzon Borglum, meant for it to be a repository of all the country's greatest historical possessions and an explanation of why the carvings exist.
Part of the proposal of Gutzon Borglum was to have this grand staircase that would allow visitors to climb all the way up behind the head.
It does currently hold important documents like copies of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, but the chamber is sealed, leading some theorists to believe it's the home of secret treasure or evidence of aliens.
Congress said, we need this money for the war effort, so we're done here. Don't worry about the Hall of Records, don't worry about the grand staircase, just get the heads done.
Number 9. Zionist occupation government conspiracy theory.
Existence of a few wealthy Jewish families was spun into conspiracy theories of an insular and self-interested Hebrew cabal out to control the world.
The Protocols of the Elders of Zion was a fictitious document created in Russia in 1903. It spawned more than a century of anti-Semitic conspiracies and hatred, from Soviet Russia to Nazi Germany through today. It spoke of various plans for a secret behind-the-scenes effort to conquer the world. The rise of neo-Nazism and alt-right hatred in the US has breathed new life into the theories.
Most people will remember at Charlottesville, this looked like right out of Hitler Germany, right, with the torchlight and in the dark. We're chanting, Jews will not replace us.
The Zionist occupation government theory in particular was created by an American neo-Nazi in 1976. The idea that Jews control the banks and the media is central to the theory. Jews use these hidden hands of culture and finance to control governments. It has gained traction both on the far right and the far left.
This is all clearly an insane lie. Unfortunately, the world is a very racist place, so plenty of people were happy to believe it.
Number 8. Advance warning of Pearl Harbor.
During the intervening time, the Japanese government has deliberately sought to deceive the United States by false statements and expressions of hope.
President Franklin Roosevelt understood early on that Hitler's march on Europe and Japan's march on Asia would eventually drag America into the conflict. He initiated the Lend-Lease program with Britain and ramped up America's industrial output. Roosevelt was right. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the U.S. Navy at Pearl Harbor, quickly followed up by a German declaration of war. As early as 1944, people twisted Roosevelt's attitude towards the war into a conspiracy theory that Roosevelt knew about the attack and let it happen. America First writers, politicians, and generals have argued this theory for decades. From 1941 through 1995, there were 10 official inquiries into the attack. While there were some interesting findings, none proved the theory correct.
It doesn't make any sense, Admiral. Yamamoto had everything going for him. Power, experience, confidence. Were we better than the Japanese or just luckier?
Number 7. The U.S. government is run by reptilians. Before creating Conan the Barbarian, writer Robert E. Howard wrote the short story The Shadow Kingdom in 1929. It described a civilization of lizard people who used shape-shifting and psychic powers to infiltrate society. Years later, an occultist named Maurice Doreal wrote about a similar race that lived in the Gobi Desert. Half a century later, a conspiracist named David Icke took these notions and ran with them.
They're feeding off humanity. They've turned humanity into a slave race. They demand human sacrifice. That's where Satanism comes in.
He wrote a book titled The Biggest Secret, alleging that a civilization like Howard's was real. His reptilian conspiracy has spread like wildfire since its introduction in 1999. It combined with various anti-Semitic conspiracy theories and has inspired people all over the world. The Nashville Christmas Day bomber in 2020 cited belief in this theory.
He's still making startling revelations, and recently he declared the moon to be a hollowed-out planetoid space station from which our minds are controlled. The lizard's very own Death Star.
Number 6. The Federal Reserve Conspiracy.
But the Fed as we know it today, with its many responsibilities, was built from responses to even more financial crises.
The U.S. Federal Reserve was formed to help usher America onto the world stage as an economic power. Since its inception, however, the Fed has been the target of conspiracy theories, specifically that, quote, Jews control the banks. In the Fed's infancy, car baron Henry Ford was its loudest critic. He wrote a multi-volume anti-Semitic screen called The International Jew, starring the Fed as a Jewish tool to conquer America. His notions spread through the years into the modern-day patriot movement. Both white supremacists and black separatists, like the Nation of Islam, find significance in the fact that the Fed and the Jewish Anti-Defamation League were both founded in 1913.
In the real world, our cash takes a lot of abuse, but it still has a long lifespan.
Number 5. The JFK assassination was an inside job.
26 trained medical personnel at Parkland Hospital saw with their own eyes the back of the president's head blasted out.
The assassination of a U.S. president is a momentous historical event. John F. Kennedy was the first and so far only president killed in the era of television, making it a worldwide spectacle. Theories surrounding the event have percolated on the fringes for decades. Was Oswald a lone gunman? Could there have been a shooter on the grassy knoll? Who was the man with the umbrella? Was Castro involved? Or the Soviets? Was it really the military because Kennedy was going to pull out of Vietnam? Over time, the inside job theory began to eclipse many of the others. Despite the Warren Commission report, these theories have remained, helped along by dozens of books and films like Oliver Stone's JFK.
That kind of national security, gentlemen of the jury, is when it smells like it, feels like it, and looks like it. You call it what it is.
Number 4. NASA faked the moon landing.
It's the only time in history where the technological accomplishment cannot be repeated by any nation on Earth 50 years later. To me, that proves that it's a fraud to begin with.
Most of America and a good portion of the rest of the world stood still the day men walked on the moon. Unfortunately, it didn't even take a full decade before the achievement was tainted by conspiracy theories. In 1976, a self-published book, We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 Billion Swindle, came out. 2 years later, a film titled Capricorn 1 was released.
Why all of a sudden are we standing up for the bad guys and you're on the side of truth and justice?
Both detailed an elaborate hoax meant to fool the world. There are theories that the entire Apollo program was fake. Some think Stanley Kubrick shot the entire landing on a soundstage.
Just go to any Apollo site and look and you'll see that they have to hide the bottom of the screen, and you can always see the set screen separation line in every Apollo footage.
The evidence to debunk these theories is overwhelming, yet the conspiracy persists to this day. Number 3. An inside job.
Buried in this pile of debris should be hard evidence pointing to implosion. Evidence that should have been found in the rubble of the World Trade Center.
On September 11, 2001, al-Qaeda terrorists, in a plan devised by Osama bin Laden, hijacked several planes and crashed them into both the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. 9/11 reshaped the world, leading to multiple wars and the Patriot Act.
George W. Bush and the United States military invaded the sovereign nation of Iraq, a nation that had never attacked the United States.
Though evidence exists now showing Saudi involvement, other wild conspiracies spread in the wake of the attacks. Online sleuths combed over footage of the attacks again and again. Some claimed that they weren't planes but missiles that struck the Pentagon. Obsession over steel strength and building collapses spread like wildfire, leading to one insane, unproved conclusion: 9/11 was an inside job. The theory persists today, with 2024 presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy breathing new life into them on the campaign trail. Number 2. QAnon.
What's about to be revealed is that QAnon is actually JFK Jr. So JFK Jr. is alive, and he brought the plan to Donald pre-1999.
Even when conspiracy theories die out, pieces can get picked up, repurposed, and recycled. QAnon is one glaring, horrific example. Starting in 2017, an anonymous, alleged member of the government called Q dropped conspiracy nuggets onto 4chan. He claimed that a cannibalistic cabal of left-wing Satanists secretly runs the government.
What QAnon is just an amalgamation of all of the greatest conspiracy theories thrown into one big belief.
QAnon grafts the centuries-old anti-Semitic trope of the blood libel onto American politics. They believe that elites use the trappings of power to traffic children. The purpose? The cabal allegedly harvests adrenochrome from the kids to stay young. Trump, Q says, is fighting this cabal. QAnon dovetailed with Trump's stolen election claims as well. The January 6th attack included many QAnon members hoping to keep him in power.
All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. The New World Order.
I want people to wake up to the global elite that run this country.
The theory of the New World Order is in some ways the catch-all mother of all conspiracies. Many others, including those on this list, are somehow allegedly tied into the New World Order. Powerful elites are the puppet masters behind culture and politics the world over. They want to slowly and quietly subjugate everyone on Earth with the ultimate goal of creating a totalitarian one-world government.
Well, what most people think the New World Order is that there's going to be a global takeover. They're going to dissolve all countries and we'll be under a fascist state.
Institutions like the WHO, the UN, and the World Bank are often subjects of this theory, both from the far left and the far right. Arguments about losing sovereignty to the international order are often tied to the fear of the NWO. Arguments over British sovereignty during the Brexit discussion played directly into these fears. If you think the Illuminati sent some reptilian shock troops to leave a theory off of our list, let us know in the comments below.
It's almost like the entire thing, the entire New World Order apparatus has been scripted and it's working like clockwork.
Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.